Hello students, you are watching Biology TV and this is Vishwanath. Welcome to this quick revision session on biology for NEET examination. Today, let's discuss about biodiversity and its conservation. I am going to revise the entire chapter in 5 minutes and I am going to discuss the important aspects of this chapter for NEET examination. Okay, let's begin with the discussion. Biodiversity and its conservation. So this chapter can be broadly divided into or can be split into two parts. One is biodiversity part and another one is conservation part. First we shall go with biodiversity. Under biodiversity we studied about levels of biodiversity, magnitude of biodiversity, patterns of biodiversity, importance of biodiversity and causes of biodiversity loss. First we shall go with levels of biodiversity. We studied about genetic diversity, species diversity and ecological diversity. Genetic diversity is diversity at the level of genes, diversity at the level of species and diversity at the level of ecosystem or habitat. This is about levels of biodiversity. Next one is magnitude of biodiversity, means how many species of organisms are there on the world and how many are there within the India. This is about the magnitude, the number of species. Okay, then next one is patterns. Pattern, how the biodiversity is divided within this world. So this can be studied under two headings. One is the latitudinal gradient, another one is species area relationship. Under latitudinal gradient, it tells about why the species richness is more in equator region when compared to the polar region. And next one is species area relationship. Species area relationship was given by an scientist Alexander von Humboldt when exploring South American jungles. He tells the number of species increases as the area increases, but up to the certain limit. Then after the number of species keeps on decreases. So when this is plotted on a graph, we get a rectangular hyperbola. This is about the species area relationship. Next we studied about importance of biodiversity. Why an biodiversity is very important for an habitat, or what happens if an habitat is more diverse. If an habitat is more diverse, then it increases the stability of the habitat. It increases the productivity of the habitat and it allows the ecosystem to perform in a most healthy way. Here it tells about Rivett-Popper hypothesis. So Rivett-Popper hypothesis was given by Paul Ehrlich. He tells according to this hypothesis, he considers each species to one particular rivet. Rivet means the bolts which are used in the construction of planes. Okay. So if all the rivets are removed, the plane cannot fly. It crushes or it falls down. In the same way, all the species are important for the growth of our healthy functioning of ecosystem. This is about the Rivett-Popper hypothesis. Next, we started with causes of biodiversity loss. Why the major biodiversity is getting destructed? It is mainly because of habitat loss and fragmentation. Why we are fragmenting the habitat? That is mainly because of urbanization, intense corporate farming and mining and deforestation. These are the main causes of habitat loss and fragmentation. Next we studied about overexploitation and alien species invasion. Next we started with conservation. Under conservation we can divide into two parts, why and how. Why we need to conserve habitat, and next is how to conserve habitat. First we shall go with why to conserve habitat. Why we should conserve habitat? We should conserve habitat, our biodiversity, because it produces some narrowly utilitarian aspects. Narrowly utilitarian aspects like food, medicine, etc. And next one is broadly utilitarian aspects. Broadly utilitarian aspects means the biodiversity produces oxygen, pollination, some aesthetic values. So this is about broadly utilitarian. And next one is ethical. So next, how to conserve biodiversity. Biodiversity can be conserved in two ways. One is in situ conservation and another one is ex situ conservation. In situ conservation is conservation of a species within the same habitat, within its original habitat or within the same habitat. That is called as in situ conservation. If an organism is conserved in different place, then it is called as ex situ conservation. In situ conservation is of three types: species protection, assemblage protection, habitat protection. Under species protection, a single species is protected. Under assemblage protection, group of species are protected. Under habitat preservation, a complete habitat is protected. Complete area is protected. Under habitat protection, we have national parks, sanctuaries, biosphere reserves and sacred groves. And next is important thing within this habitat preservation is hotspot. So the criteria for announcing an area into a hotspot. So what all an area needs to satisfy. So it should contain 1500 species of vascular plants or 0.5% of the plants present within this area as endemics. 1500 species of vascular plants or 0.5% of the total population of the plants present within this habitat, and they should be endemic to this habitat, and 70% of the habitat is under destruction or which is under threat. 70% of the habitat is under threat, and 1500 species or 0.5% of the species of the world present within this habitat, and they are all endemic to this habitat. Under such conditions, we can announce this habitat as or area as biodiversity hotspot. So there are all over the world we have 34 biodiversity hotspot, and India has got 3 biodiversity hotspots. Okay, this is about the conservation part. And next is some of the international efforts to conserve biodiversity. So Earth Summit was held in 1992 in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil of South America. So there the Earth Summit was held, and there announced that 22nd May is celebrated as International Day of Biodiversity. 22nd May is celebrated as International Day of Biodiversity. And next one is IUCN, International Union of Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. It mainly deals with conservation of nature and natural resources. Next one is World Wildlife Fund for Nature. It is mainly concerned with protection of wildlife. And next one is Indian Board of Wildlife. It is mainly deals with conservation of wildlife of India. And next one is conservation sites, that is Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Flora and Fauna. It mainly deals with trade of the endangered species. So here in the NEET examination, major questions, that is I will challenge you dear students, 90% of the questions will appear from this conservation part. 90% of the question will be from this conservation part. So if you concentrate on all this, you can check any of the question papers, number of questions will be more within this conservation part. So if you remember this flow chart, then it will be very easy for remembering and answering the questions. So this is about the biodiversity and its conservation. Thank you. If you have any doubts, please mention them in the comment section. For notes and other study material, please log on to my Telegram channel, and link to the Telegram channel is given in description. If you like the video, please do subscribe and share with your friends. And don't forget to click the bell icon for updates of my new videos. Thank you.